Have you ever experienced that moment? You are in the perfect spot with great gear, watching an incredible wildlife scene unfold. But somehow, the photos just don't capture what your eyes are seeing. The depth is missing. The subject blends into the background. And that magical moment you witnessed looks flat in your screen. If you are nodding your head right now, you are not alone, my friend. And today we are going to unlock one of photography's most powerful tool, understanding of light. Hey there, welcome to my podcast. I'm your host Abhishek Bagaria, a designer turned wildlife photographer. Through my work, I aim to combine the art of storytelling with raw beauty of nature, inspiring others to connect with the wild. I keep on sharing techniques and tricks to enhance your photographic skills. I'll share everything from my experiences. In today's episode, we are diving into the most essential element of photography, that is understanding of light. I'll share why light can make or break images and how mastering a few simple techniques can dramatically improve your wildlife photography. Whether you are shooting with your phone or an high-end equipment, this episode is packed with insights to help you capture the magic of the wild. Now, the question is, why does this happen? When we see the world, we see everything in 3D, with depth, with dimension. But why photos are flat? The camera captures everything in 2D. So the trick is, somehow, if we can convey the depth and true sense of dimension to our cameras. So with few techniques and better understanding of light, you can create images that truly stands out. But before we dive in, let's pause for a moment. Look at some of your favorite wildlife photos and try observing the light. Notice how the light falls on the subject. My guess is 7 out of 10 times for those striking images that you love, either the light falls from the backside or the sidewise. Why? Because unless the subject has natural contrast against the background, both will blend, creating a flat and interesting frame. But with backlight or side light, shadow adds depth and depth adds drama. Voila! That's the secret. Here is a simple exercise I often recommend to my participants. Just hold your palm out in front of you, facing the light. Now, slowly rotate your hand, changing the angle of the light. Watch how the shadows are changing, how the light creates different moods and depth as your hand moves. This is exactly what happens with your subjects. So once you have identified your light source and the angle that you are liking, aim for natural contrast, not the kind added in post processing. Backlight and sidelight naturally introduce shadows and highlights, creating depth and making your photo feel more alive. Interestingly, whenever I edit such photos, I often reduce contrast and clarity because the natural light has already done the heavy lifting for me. Sounds interesting? Let's move ahead. Now let's take some common lighting situations and challenges in wildlife photography and how we can tackle them. I'll try to share my experiences. You can experiment with them. One of the most common situation we often discuss with our participants are harsh midday sun. The time generally we don't shoot. But let me tell you, my friends, if you want your creativity to flow, every second matters. Maybe you can try in caching that as well. When animals are active under harsh midday light, I generally use an external ND filter to control the exposure and add some creativity with my frames. Recently, I was experimenting in Masai Mara with elephants, and some of the results are really stunning. Variable ND filters works best here because you can control the kind of exposure you want. Otherwise, you will get stuck with changing different filters for different values. But this requires practice since they are manually adjusted and not linked with your camera settings. So you have to practice really hard to get the kind of results you want. Dappled forest light. A very common situation in Indian forests. This is the situation where the light creates a patchwork of highlights and shadows. One of the most challenging yet rewarding scenarios, because every time the wildlife moves or you move, the metering, the composition, everything goes for a toss. If your subject happens to be in a bright spot, you can achieve a stunning spotlight effect. In my last Kanha tour, happened to get a shot where a dappled light, a spotlight, was falling on the tiger. I really enjoyed composing that frame. Soon, maybe I'll upload that photo. Having said that, every time matrix metering or evaluative metering might not work in this situation. You have to be patient and accordingly tune your camera to achieve the desired results. Backlight situations, a personal favorite. To nail this, I often expose for the highlights on the subject, even often dropping the exposure compensation by 2 or even 3 stops. Generally, this situation happens during the sunrise or even just before the sunset. Adjusting white balance here works wonders. It's like painting with light. For such situations, I often rely on spot metering, though it depends on the situation as well. What's your personal favorite? Overcast days, especially foggy winter morning, offers a perfect diffused light, just like we want to get with a diffuser when we are shooting a macro subject. This is when your composition skills comes into play. You might not get a very sharp photo of a subject unless it's very near, but use that soft light to craft dramatic, moody images. For example, if you take your white balance to high as maybe 9000 or 10,000 Kelvin, you might get a very orangey vibe in the mood, a warm feeling. Whereas if you try playing with that white balance towards the 3000, 4000 range, you might get a very beautiful bluish tint, a very cold and chilly vibe from the image. Let your creative juices flow and dive into some creative aspects. I might not be able to cover everything here, but definitely I'll try to share some of my favorites. Some advanced techniques of working with light to achieve some sort of a creative frames. One of the most common thing is rim lighting. If your subject has fur, feathers, or glossy skin, or maybe the subject just came out of water, position the light source behind to create a beautiful rim light effect. This adds a magical glow and emphasizes this on textures, the pattern, the chill out of the subject. Generally, this can be achieved towards the evening when sun is about to set and the sun is just behind the subject. Mood creation. Warm and cool tones can set the mood of your image. Fog, sun's position, and white balance adjustment are key to achieve this. If you are curious about such things, please reach out to me. Water reflections. One of my favorite ongoing project. Reflections can add a dynamic layer to your composition. I have been experimenting with this recently and you will soon see some of the results on my social feed. So instead of capturing the beauty as it is, what if you try seeing the reflection that you see on water? Now, experiment with all the things that we have learned so far and try creating some magical frames. Light is an endless journey of learning. Every time I step into nature, it teaches me something new. I'd love to hear about your lighting adventures too. Share your photos using these techniques and tag me on Instagram. Let's learn from each other. And remember, while I have shared my preferences for side lighting or backlighting, there is no absolute right or wrong in photography. Everyone has their own unique vision. Every artist is free to experiment and create what they love. What makes your work special? That's what is important. Thank you for tuning in today and joining me on this journey of mastering the art of lighting in wildlife photography. Remember, every great shot starts with observing and understanding the light. So, next time you are out in the field, take a moment to notice and how the lighting falls on your subject and experiment with different angles. If you found this episode helpful, I'd love to hear from you. Tag me in your photos and drop me a message with your thoughts and questions. And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss out our next episodes, where we'll explore how to use composition to tell powerful stories through your photos or even some other topic. Until then, keep clicking, stay inspired, and enjoy the beauty of wild.